Kemi was the only girl in the village with hair. Long, thick, beautiful hair that fell down her back like black silk. The other girls were all bald. It was just how things were in that place. Nobody knew why, but Kemi had hair, and she never let anyone forget it. She spent hours sitting by the river, combing it, braiding it, letting it catch the sunlight. She would toss it over her shoulder. When she walked through the village, she would gather it in her hands and let it fall through her fingers like water. The other girls watched her with quiet faces. Kemi laughed at them. She called them eggheads. She called them bare scalps. She asked them loudly if they used their heads as mirrors. When they walked past her, she would flip her hair and sigh dramatically about how heavy it was, how much work it took to maintain such beauty. Her mother told her to stop. Her father said nothing, but looked disappointed. Kemi did not care. She was special. She was chosen. She had what they did not have. Then the announcement came. The prince would marry soon. He would choose from the village. Everyone knew he would choose Kemi. How could he not? She was the only one with hair. She was the most beautiful. It was obvious. It was destiny. Kemi became even worse. She told the bald girls not to bother hoping. She said the prince would never look at them. She said they should be grateful she was even in the same village as them, so they could at least see what beauty looked like. One market day, an old woman appeared at the vegetable stall. She was bent and wrinkled, her head completely bald and shining in the sun. Her clothes were torn and dusty. She reached out a shaking hand toward Kemi. "Please, daughter," the old woman said, "spare a coin for food." Kemi stepped back. She wrinkled her nose. "Don't touch me with your dirty hands, old woman, and don't call me daughter. I'm nothing like you." The old woman's hand stayed extended. "Just a small kindness, child." "I'm hungry." Kemi laughed. "Maybe if you had hair, someone would help you. But look at you, bald and ugly, even more ugly than the other bald girls here. At least they are young." The market went quiet. People stopped their bargaining. They stared at Kemi. The old woman lowered her hand slowly. Her eyes, which had been pleading, went hard as stones. "You love your hair so much," she said softly. "Let us see who you are without it." Kemi tossed her hair. "Crazy old woman, go away." She walked home swinging her hair, laughing with her friends about the mad beggar. That night, Kemi went to sleep touching her hair, as she always did. She fell asleep smiling. When she woke up, her pillow was covered in hair, long black strands everywhere, on her pillow, on her sheets, on the floor. She sat up screaming. She touched her head, smooth, bare, empty. Her hair was gone, all of it, not a single strand left. Her scalp was as bald and shining as every other girl in the village. Kemi screamed until her throat was raw. She cried until she had no tears left. Her mother came running. Her father stood in the doorway with his hand over his mouth. They did not know what to say. For 3 days, Kemi did not leave her room. She covered her head with cloth. She refused to eat. She stared at the mirror and sobbed. On the 4th day, she went to the market. She searched every corner for the old woman. She asked every vendor. No one had seen her. No one knew where she went. It was as if she had never existed. "Please," Kemi begged anyone who would listen. "The old woman, the bald one. Where is she?" They shook their heads. Some looked at her with pity. Some looked at her with something else, something colder. Kemi tried everything. She went to the herbalist who gave her oils and potions. Nothing worked. She went to the priest who prayed over her head. Nothing changed. She went to the river, where she used to comb her hair, and cry to the water. The water did not answer. The prince's visit was in 1 month. Then 3 weeks. Then 2 weeks. Kemi stopped searching. She stopped crying. She wrapped her head in a cloth, like the other girls did. She went to the stream in the morning. She helped at the market. She spoke quietly. But the other girls did not forget. They did not welcome her. When she approached them at the stream, they turned away. When she tried to join their conversations, they went silent. When she reached for vegetables at the market stall, they moved to a different stall. "I'm sorry," Kemi said one day. She said it to Adiz, who she had called egghead 100 times. I am so sorry for what I said to you. Adiz looked at her bald head. Now you know how it feels, she said, and walked away. Kemi understood. She had earned this. She had been cruel. She had been vain. She had thought herself better than everyone because of something she was born with, something she did not earn, something she did not deserve. She stopped apologizing. Apologies were just words. Instead, she helped. She carried water for the old women. She watched children while their mothers worked. She swept the community square without being asked. She spoke to no one unless spoken to. She kept her head down and her mouth closed, slowly, very slowly. Some of the girls began to nod at her. Then some began to greet her. Then some began to talk to her. Not like before, not like friends, but like people who share the same village, the same stream, the same sun. The prince came on a bright morning. The whole village gathered. The young women stood in a line, all with their heads wrapped in colorful cloth. Kemi stood at the end of the line. She did not push forward. She did not toss hair that was not there. She simply stood. The prince walked down the line slowly. He looked at each girl. He stopped in front of Kemi. He looked at her for a long moment. Then he moved on. He chose Adiz. He placed his staff at her feet. Kemi felt something break inside her chest, but it was different from the breaking she felt when her hair disappeared. This was quieter, sadder, but also cleaner. She clapped with the rest of the village. She smiled at Adiz. She meant it. That night, alone in her room, Kemi cried, but these tears were different. They were not tears of vanity or anger. They were tears of loss and acceptance. She had lost the prince. She had lost her hair. She had lost her pride. Maybe she was never meant to have any of it. If he was meant for me, she whispered to the dark, he would have stayed. He would have chosen me anyway. She slept. In her dream, the old woman appeared. She was not bent anymore. She stood straight and tall. Her bald head shone like the moon. You have learned, the old woman said. Kemi bowed her head. I am sorry for how I treated you. I'm sorry for how I treated everyone. You were cruel because you thought beauty made you better. Now you know beauty means nothing if the heart is ugly. Yes, Kemi whispered. The old woman smiled. You have become kind. You have become humble. You have become who you were meant to be. She reached out and touched Kemi's bare head. You do not need this to be worthy, but you may have it back now, not because you deserve it, but because you no longer think you do. Kemi woke up. The sun was streaming through her window. She felt something on her shoulders, something familiar, something impossible. She ran to the mirror. Her hair had returned, every strand, as long and black and beautiful as before. She touched it with shaking fingers. She gathered it in her hands. She looked at herself in the mirror. The same face, the same hair, but different eyes, older eyes, kinder eyes. She went outside. The village women stared. Some gasped. Some whispered prayers. Adiz, who now wore the prince's betrothal beads, stopped walking. Kemi walked up to her. You will make a beautiful bride, she said. Adiza searched her face for mockery, found none. She smiled carefully. Thank you. Kemi went to the stream with her water pot. She sat with the other girls. They touched her hair with wonder, asking how it came back. She told them she did not know. She told them it did not matter. She told them she was grateful to be there with them, hair or no hair. And she meant every word. She never mocked anyone again. She never boasted again. She wore her hair simply, without fuss. She helped and worked and laughed and lived. The hair that had once made her cruel now rested on shoulders that carried kindness. The old woman never appeared again. But sometimes, when Kemi braided her hair in the morning, she felt a blessing in the strands, a reminder, a warning, a gift. Beauty is nothing. Kindness is everything. And sometimes you must lose what you love most to learn what truly matters.
Hi there, I'm Lily. If you enjoyed this story, please follow, like, and subscribe.